Good morning and welcome to Garden with Peggy. I have a wiggle worm dog here. Oh, that's his bone. He just wants to run off and hide. So we're just going to say good morning real quick. See him with his chewy and off he goes because he's driving me nuts. Hope you're good and had a good week. Certainly the weather has turned without question. And all kinds of things are beginning to happen, which is, of course, very exciting. And we would like to remind you that we are on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll pop up with small things on YouTube and Instagram. And isn't there one more? TikTok. Yeah, we show up on all those things. So that's kind of fun. Appreciate it if you would share, like, follow, subscribe, whatever the magic buttons say. We're growing, but slowly. But I think perhaps spring will change all that. So the number, if you want to call, 888-399-7344. That's PEGI, Peggy, 7344. So if you'd like to call, because there's all kinds of things. What should we do first? There's a lot of stuff here. I'm hoping that my good friends Bob and Nancy from Scataway will call because I have... They can add to my presentation on Peppadew Peppers. I did a little bit more digging on that because they'd asked some questions about it. We actually had shared information over texting, but I thought it would be kind of fun to show it on the air. So maybe they'll call and then we'll do that. In the meantime, I went to the Home and Garden Show on Friday with Dani girl from Metuchen. And let me tell you, it's not the New Jersey Flower Show. It is the New Jersey Home and Garden Show. And apparently the flower show is gone, just gone, no longer exists. But the Home and Garden Show has been around, according to people there, for 30 years. And believe me, it's far more home than it is garden. How many mattresses do you need? Windows? Anybody need windows? Lots and lots and lots of windows. And then people spraying stuff on you as you walk by. I didn't need any of that, but I was very happy that Mike's Country Market was there, and that's Keith, and their display was really very attractive. I love the pots. I think the pots are beautiful, and it was just a nice layout. I think it looked really, really good. And it was. I didn't see Mike. I went to see Mike. He wasn't there. We went around the whole show. I came back, and he hadn't got back yet. So I never got to actually see Mike. However, I did get to see his son. That's Enzo. And if you look very closely, behind his shoulder is a serpentine blue Atlas cedar. Can you see that? Can you see that? Thinking that might be, or something like that, might be a really good replacement for my Harry Lauder's walking stick. Now, I know that I want to get another Harry Lauder's walking stick, maybe even one of the new red ones. They're not quite as curly as the traditional ones, but they have red foliage, which makes them special. I can't put another Harry where mine died because it's full of borers. The dead branches they look like a flute. There's so many holes in them. And so something got in there, and obviously it's not the soil because everything around the Harry Lauder's walking stick is flourishing. So it's not the soil, it's that some critter got in there. And so I don't want to replace it in that spot. I'll put one in the back somewhere. So, but that serpentine blue Atlas cedar is a tease. So I may go up to Mike's and see what he's got. Oh, there's Dani girl. And whoever did this display, I asked him what variety of blue Atlas cedar that was. And he said, it's just a blue Atlas cedar. And I said, it's very skinny. And he said, it's just a young tree. And I don't know. It looks very skinny. It looks very, very, very skinny. So I don't know what it is. The tag just said blue Atlas cedar, but for one that tall, that is really skinny. It's cute. I like it the way it is, but I don't know. I think it must be some sort of columnar or something. I don't know, but maybe not, but maybe it's just a skinny young tree. But the Norway spruce was also on his display, and that is a really nice weeping Norway spruce. That has a really nice shape. I love that one. So that was kind of fun, and that was pretty close to the entrance. And these red twig dogwoods, you know, I might need to get some of them. I might need to put them in the grove between all the tall skinny trees because they're very shade tolerant. And look at how, I mean, they're really red. They are red, red, red. They're shade tolerant and they provide winter interest. I don't think one would do it though. I think I would need to scatter them around in between the trees. Would be kind of fun because they're bushes. They stay small. They can take the shade of the larger trees. Anyway, they tickled me. It's not that they're new. I don't have them, and I just have forgotten how truly red they are in the winter, and always like to find things that add winter interest. Okay, this young lady made something new. There are similar things out, but she's applying for a patent on this. And these are sleeves that are 100% cotton, and they are attached to the gloves. They are attached. So to protect your arms from thorns and poison ivy. There are other kinds of sleeves out there. She said that because they're cotton in the summertime, they're cooler than the ones that are sort of nylon-y and you wear and they're tight to your skin. They're out of a much tougher material, but that they're really hot and sweaty. And these, I thought this was kind of cool. And she has a wonderful selection with different size gloves. I was really eyeing those purple ones. Should I have bought them for myself? Yeah, maybe I should have. I didn't, but I was really eyeing those purple ones. And I have her contact information. And let's move on here. They had some more manly ones for any guys out there that may not want to wear ladybugs or pansies or something. They did have some more, I think, boring, but you know, guys aren't necessarily into ladybugs. Although let's be perfectly clear about this. I want there to be no misunderstandings. There are boy ladybugs. So, you know, there's got to be boy ladybugs and lady ladybugs to make baby ladybugs. So just because they're called ladybug, we don't want to get sexist here. All right, next. All right, and this is her. Her name is Lynn Silber, and she designed the gloves, and she's very excited about that. Her patent is pending. So, I think, you know, $20 is a reasonable price, and it's an interesting thing. You can take them off and throw them in the washing machine with the gloves attached. And you can find her at gardensleeves.com. You can also reach her at Lynn at Nompi Gloves. I don't understand Nompi, what that word comes from, Nompi, but Nompi Gloves is the name of her company, or gardensleeves.com. You can get there that way. She's a very nice lady, and I give her a lot of credit for, you know, creating something like a little cottage industry for herself. Good luck to you. And if anybody's interested, again, you can always come back and see this on the archived footage. All right, I thought this was cool. This was cool, and they're kind of fun. You need a good sunny window, of course, and I really like the teardrop shaped ones better than the round ones, but they were all very interesting. And this is a close-up look. I mean, I think that's kind of cute, you know? I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of plant material there, but these were fun, and I thought that again, someone used a little creativity and are very interesting and fun. And of course, I love succulents, so I was drawn to them. And this art is pretty spectacular, right? I mean, it's all made out of natural things. And I thought that these pieces were beautiful. I really, in the right setting, I mean, they would be just stunning. That one in the middle, I think, is probably my favorite. Although the ones that are just green, I don't know, there's something that makes me want to almost hug them. So they were very appealing. They were very appealing. All right, somebody makes all this handmade flower jewelry. I think they're really well done. So if you want to buy a present for somebody, you know, there's those little purple pansies kind of catch my eye over there. They were pretty, and at least they had a flower theme. I met this young lady who wrote this book. Her name is Stacey Ling. A Beautiful and Easy Care Flower Garden. Okay, so she wrote a book, and she was there, you know, pushing her book, and she was very proud of the fact that she's a master gardener. Well, that's good. She has a background, and she was with some other women, and we're all lovely. She's, you know, selling the book. She's local from Morris County, so we like to support local garden people. So if you meet her, you can tell her that that you heard about it via me here. But she was good for her. She wrote a book. Okay, this is the coolest part. Oh, I forgot my wooden piece. Is it downstairs on my desk? This hempwood stuff is super, super cool. And obviously, it's made from hemp. I don't know how many of you know what hemp actually is. It's a very close relative of marijuana. Marijuana is one of the hemps. But before people smoked it, it was used to make a lot of different kinds of rope. And it was a very important piece of society to be able to use ropes. They used ropes for so many more things than we use ropes for today. And now, of course, there's synthetic ropes, but that's what hemp was for, fiber. But it was the foliage of the hemp that was used for the fiber for the ropes. And the stems were kind of woody, and they didn't use them for anything until now. They take the stems and in some way smash them together. And it's a process not too dissimilar from bamboo, but apparently the process that they uses a lot less chemicals to put it together. And this is some of the samples of what they had. And I think it's stunning. I think it's really beautiful. I was, you know, I thought that was the most exciting thing that I saw at the Home and Garden Show. It was a little bit of a cross. It was mostly home, but a little bit garden. And the thing about hemp is it's an annual crop. So you could make all this beautiful flooring. They used some for picture frames. They had a couple of other things that you could use it for. I mean, as a building material, it's a renewable crop. I mean, you can grow it every year. So you don't have to take down trees. You can just grow this, and it has multi functions. The foliage used for fiber, and then the stems used to make this beautiful wood. So I think that's pretty cool. So hempwood, if you're interested, and trying to find out, there is, and it's considered organic. Not sure what that means in the world of flooring, but hempwood organic flooring if you're looking. And let's go to me. And this is the piece that they gave me, which, can you see it really close? See, isn't that beautiful? I think it's fabulous looking. I would love a floor or a table. They make some furniture with it, but something out of this really, and it's a little different. Doesn't look like oak, doesn't look like vinyl stuff, which people are using, which I'm not particularly drawn to, and it's a natural material. So hempwood, the newest, latest, greatest, coolest thing. Okay, so do we have any callers? No callers. And again, I'm hoping Bob from Piscataway will give us a call. So I'm going to give the number again. It's 888-399-7344. That's Peggy. And remember, if you have questions, you can email me at Peggy at Comcast.net is my email. And you can email me through the website, which is Garden with Peggy. And of course, there's a chat feature. Anybody do any chatting yet? No chatting? Oh, but we do have, it's Dani from Metuchen. Let's talk to Dani, girl.
And
good morning. Dani.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Dani went with me to the Not Flower Show, and I had a great time with her. We had fun. We were, making fun of the place the whole time we were there because it really was not the garden show. And we didn't learn until the very end when we were leaving that it wasn't the garden show, that the garden show no longer exists. We think that it's last year was what did she say? 2019?
I believe so.
So that was right before COVID. So I suspect COVID had something to do with it. That would be my guess. But what did you think?
I think they said, it was a big disappointment. Like I agree with you totally, and I think they shouldn't even put garden in there because it's so little, and like I said, it wasn't what we went there for.
No, and outside of Mike's, because they're great, the other people didn't even seem to know the plant material that they brought themselves. So I don't think they were high-end landscapers. All right, look who's back. He decided to come up on his own. Here he is. You calmed down. You finished your bone. So what's up, Dani girl? What can I do for you today?
Okay, like you said, the spring is starting to show up. I created a new plot for my plants, for my flowers, and over the winter I covered up with some plastic material, but now things are start to emerge, including some unwelcome onion grass. So I need to go and start cleaning it. But I am very much afraid that once I take out my plastic covering, my garden bed is going to be completely, totally destroyed by my tons of squirrels that are congregating in my backyard. They're going to be just digging the whole thing full up in like less than an hour once I take off the plastic. So
you want to borrow Alfie? You want to borrow Alfie? He chases squirrels. He really likes to chase squirrels. And yes, you're right. If you uncover it and it's nice, soft earth, yeah, there's a good possibility that the squirrels will attempt to dig in there. And is there any way you can get in there and weed a little and then put the cover back, or is that too complex?
I am also afraid some of the plants that I planted, if they emerge, the opening of the plastic material is kind of tight. Unless I go around, make some cuts once the plants start to show up. Maybe that will work because, eventually, I don't know what I will do once I have more plants in there.
Well, once you have more plants in there and everything is well established, it's going to be a lot harder for the squirrels to do major damage. So
that's true.
So that'll help. So if you can keep the squirrels out of there for a little bit longer, then they'll everything will get rooted, and you can put some mulch down. That'll help. And there's not too much else you can do unless you can find some bell jars to cover them up with the plants as they, uncover it. And then as they emerge, you can cover them with, mayonnaise jars, soda bottles, whatever, something to protect them also from any late season frosts. If you need to pull off the cover to get to the onion grass. Nobody wants onion grass, and you got to be really careful with it, because if you don't get the whole stupid root, it just regenerates in no time. So you will probably want to really work on that before everything starts to emerge and spread, because you don't want to damage anything that's trying to get established.
Yeah,
onion grass is very annoying. It is very annoying.
Right.
It's edible.
Okay, I guess yeah. Yes.
It is edible. I mean, not that I would recommend people eating it. It's supposedly, really strong and has a little bit of a weird taste, but in a pinch, it's good to know. So.
Yeah, well, I'll add it to my salad. How's that?
But really, getting it out sooner rather than later, because onion grass spreads very quickly, especially in the spring, as you've probably figured out because it's going crazy.
Right.
Yeah, you should get to it soon.
Okay. Okay. I think that will be a project for myself for tomorrow, most likely. So
I have to start some seeds. I need to. It's the time to start seeds, and I need to work on my compost pile. My compost pile got huge this year, and there's a lot of really good stuff. And I want to fill 3 5-gallon buckets to transplant those tomato plants into. You know, I want to do 3 in the buckets. And so that's my project. That'll be my project for the week, is starting to clear off the compost pile so that I can get to the compost, so I can fill the buckets, so that I can transplant the seedlings. And that'll keep me busy. That'll definitely keep me busy.
Definitely.
So,
I have one more question, if you don't mind.
No,
I just thought about.
Yes, go ahead.
I have one amaryllis plant, and I have a main bulb, and then there's a separate shoot that is coming out. When will be a good time to split them?
Is it dormant now, or is it actively growing?
Okay, so I take the same approach as you. I just leave my amaryllis going all year round. And after I brought them in from my sunroom, they lost all, they've been growing in the, as much sun as my sunroom will provide. They've been growing. The leaves are strong and everything was nice until I moved them inside my house. All the leaves are start to turn yellow and they all fall off. But then a whole new set of leaves starting to appear. So the main trunk, the leaves about 15 inches tall. The new shoe has about a 10-inch long leaves as well.
Well,
so are they considered dormant, or are they considered not dormant?
No, they're definitely not dormant. That little period of time in between when they lost all their leaves and didn't have any, that's when you should have divided them.
Okay.
I don't force mine into dormancy, but I wait as long as I can in the spring. But you want to divide them before the new growth comes out. So when they start to look really pitiful, I know that the new growth is coming soon, and that's when I divide them. I divided one already.
So I'm too late.
I divided,
so I'm too late,
wait till
basically.
next year.
Yeah.
But you should be okay.
So, what?
But you should be okay until then. They don't mind being crowded in the pot, so you should be okay.
Okay. The only thing was strange. I usually at this point I will get the flower stalk, but this year I didn't.
Give it time. I haven't seen any flower stalks on any of mine, transplanted or not. So you just
okay, because usually the new set of leaves don't come out until the flower stalk came out.
That is correct. That is correct. So maybe you're not going to get with a flower this year. And what I would do if I were you is I would take that. Is it in a clay pot?
The one that I need to transplant, no, it's not.
Well, transplant it to a clay pot and then sink the pot in the ground outside in a sunny spot and let it get lots of leaves. Of course, you want to do it gradually so it doesn't get sunburned and all that. But yes, if you put it outside and give it a lot of sun, that will really help regenerate the bulb so you get flowers next year. Because usually the reason you don't get flowers is that the bulb wasn't strong enough to make flowers because it didn't get enough sun the previous year. So that's what I would do. Put it in a clay pot, put it outside as soon as you can, as soon as, danger of frost is over. Or you can start putting it out now during the day and moving it in so it gets used to the hot summer days a little more gradually. Come up with a plan. You know what you're doing, but get it outside in the sun and give it. Even your sunroom might not be sunny enough to make an amaryllis bloom.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. All right. You have a great day. And I had so much fun with you the other day. It really was fun. We did a significant amount of laughing and giggling, and that's always good for the soul.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Give Dave a hug. Talk to you soon.
Right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yay, Bob from Piscataway. He heard me calling out to him. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good, Peggy. Yes, I did hear the call. I'm doing well. We're both doing fine here. How are you?
We're doing, actually, we're celebrating Tommy's birthday today. It was last week, but we were just recovering from COVID, and my son couldn't come, and but he's coming today, and my daughter and some friends. So even though it's not his birthday, nice. We're celebrating today. So it should be cool. A really good day.
Enjoy.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay, can we bring up those Peppadews? Okay, there they are. That's them, right, Bob? That's the ones that
Hold on. Yes.
Okay. They look really yummy. I mean, they look, the color and the texture, they look like they make me want to eat them. So if they taste as good as they look.
Oh, they do. They do. Honestly, I asked my son, did you sprinkle sugar on these? Like, they're really sweet. He said, no, I just take them out of the jar and that's it. And oh man, were they good. Really good. So I just received my Peppadew seeds from one of the places you suggested, the Bohica Pepper Hut.
Right.
I think it's in South or North Carolina or maybe Florida. But I'm excited about it to grow them and see how they work.
So I did a little bit more research, and the term Peppadew is a brand name. And,
yes.
And it's not a pepper name, it's a brand name. And tangy, pickled, Juanita, piquant peppers.
Yes.
That's what they call themselves. Sweet. I don't even know if I'm saying that word correctly. Picante. I don't know, but that's them. And the pickling liquid complements these sweet, fruity peppers with an acidic kick. But Peppadew is a name brand, which is why initially we were having trouble trying to find seed for them, because they're not sold. The seed is not sold as Peppadews. So is this the place you ordered them from? The Bohica Pepper Hut?
Yes, Bohica, yes. And actually they're called Malawi Juanita Picante peppers. They're from Africa. They were kind of discovered in, I think, maybe 1993, sometime in the 90s. And that's where where the seeds come from, is Africa. I just am so excited to try these. I hope I have success with them. I am a little bit afraid to pickle them because I don't know what the pickling solution is. Is it the same one that you would normally use, with 2 cups of water to 2-to-1 ratio of water to white vinegar, distilled vinegar, and then whatever, garlic or whatever for flavoring. So I'm not sure, but I did do a search, and I found a woman in South Africa who kind of gave her treatment for it. I didn't really like the solution she was using, so I don't know. I got to do some more research and find out.
Okay.
I don't know if the jar tells you anything.
Okay. So I found this other one from a store called Store Envy. Now, Store Envy is not a seed seller. It's sort of like Etsy, where they represent other companies, but they represent, small businesses, but lots of, not just artistic things like Etsy, all the things that show up there. But the seed actually comes from Sherwood Seeds, which has its online business through Store Envy, which I had never heard of before. But I did, so just learning about that, I thought that was, kind of interesting. And then I went to Sherwood Seeds. Okay, this has got nothing to do with your pepper, but I found that they had seeds for this. Now, they called it the Oscar plant milkweed. I know it as hairy balls. If you look up hairy balls milkweed, this is what's going to show up. And
yeah, I had that growing in my bird area last year. I think I may have mentioned it to you.
So they had the seeds, and I said, okay, what the heck? I'm going to buy these seeds because it's not the kind of thing that you come across on a regular basis. So, so just doing this little research about the peppers turned up this company, Sherwood Seeds, that has a lot of interesting stuff. So, for everybody who's looking for odd, unusual, weird things, it was really fun going through their website. So, and again, you can get to it through Store Envy, or you can go right to Sherwood Seeds.
That's
And
interesting.
then,
That's good to know.
yeah, it's always fun to find somebody new with weird stuff. So these were two other places that I found them, True Leaf Market and Eden Brothers. Yeah. So you can go to either of these and look at their websites. They call them sweet pepper seeds, like a red cherry sweet. They both call them that, pretty much the same thing. They look the same. Can we swear that they're the same? No, but they certainly look very similar. They're described in a very similar way.
Yeah, that's why I like Bohica, because they it seemed like they knew what the exact plant that they were talking about.
Right,
so
that was the one. Their
yeah.
description was the closest to what's in the jar. But
yeah, exactly. And so I felt comfortable with that.
So, and Burpees has another one. They call it a cherry stuffer hybrid. I don't know, but they had seeds, and even if it's not, it's a beautiful picture. Even if it's not the right pepper, that is a beautiful picture. That makes me want to eat those too. And it certainly looks the same, but you don't know. You don't know until you try them. And with people calling the same thing by different names, it just is so confusing. But Burpee has these, which is very close. And almost everybody has, every gardener person has Burpee's catalog. So you could definitely go online and take a look. But I think that's the end of my Peppadew little presentation, and I'm so glad that you called, and I'm glad you got your seeds. So are you going to start your seeds soon?
No, well, first off, you get an A+ for your presentation. It was a very good job.
Thank you
and
very
much. Informative. No, with the system I use every year, I try to push the start date back a little further. Last year, I started between the 2nd and 3rd week of March, and 2-3 weeks before planting season in May, my plants were too big. So this year, I'm going to take a risk and not start everything till April 1st.
Ooh, that
and
is
I'm
a
going
risk.
to see, and that's kind of late, but I'm going to see if that works. And, hopefully by the time the plants are ready to get in the ground, they'll be a fair size, but not too big. The only bad thing about doing that is early tomatoes, like my red racers, will not be coming in so early because I'm starting the plants later. So those I may start a plant or two in, maybe like the 3rd week of March.
Well, I'm waiting for my BHN 589 or whatever the stupid name of that tomato is, to send up some true leaves, which they should be doing because they've been with their seed leaves for a while. And then I'm going to put them in their containers in the greenhouse. And then we'll see, if we can get them started a little bit ahead of time, and I can move them out during the day and in at night on days where the sun's out, to give them a good start, because I don't want them to grow up scraggly. So, and keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to maybe be able to get tomatoes by Memorial Day. Maybe.
Oh, that's nice. It's really hard to be patient. I want to start everything now, and I know it's not a good idea, but I'm chomping at the bit, like starting a race. Like, I'm ready to go. Let the gun go off so I could start running. And I'm just holding back and holding back. This week, I ordered multiple different peppers from quite a few different places, and everything came in. I'm surprised at how fast I'm getting my seeds this year. Even from High Mowing, I ordered a large order because I shared the order with my son for his garden, and I got everything in a week, which was shocking. So I'm very happy that I'm getting everything in. I'm trying something this year. It's called a Big Bertha pepper, bell pepper. It's
I've seen them.
Bell pepper.
Yeah, they're big. They're really big.
Yeah. Yeah, my mother's name was Bertha. So in honor of her, I'm growing a Big Bertha pepper plant. I've been looking for these for a while, and I finally found them. It says the plants are large. I don't know if they meant the peppers are large, because I know they are too. I don't know. I mean, I've never had a really large pepper plant. Hopefully they don't grow like 5-6 foot tall, but we'll find out.
No, but I've seen pepper plants that are 3 feet tall.
Yeah, 3 feet. Yes, 3 feet, a little bit higher. Yeah, I've had them that tall, but not like a tomato, you know.
No.
So we'll see. We'll try it and see. I'll put it in an area where there's enough space for it to branch out if it needs to.
All right. Well,
We'll
good
see.
luck
Well,
with that.
hopefully
I
it'll
think
be
it's
good.
very sweet that you are planting a pepper in your mom's honor. I think that's kind of fun and
All right,
awesome.
well,
So
good luck.
enjoy that and keep me posted. And I'm going to ask you to do me a big favor. When you
Sure.
start your tomatoes and whatever else you're starting, if you could take a weekly picture, or maybe even every 3
okay.
or 4 days, and we could see how they do, and we could show the progression of how they do between the time that you plant them from seed and the time you're ready to put them out. And then that'll show everybody the advantage, or may turn out to be disadvantage, of waiting that long.
Right.
I think that would be useful
Yeah, that's a
information.
good idea. Hopefully it's not an epic fail, but we'll find out.
But
I'm willing to take a chance.
You learn from epic fails as much as you learn from successes, maybe more. So,
That's how I learned how to do this, is through my mistakes. That's for sure.
all right. Well, you have a great day. Give Nancy a hug, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Peggy. Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right. So what's next? I have not been particularly chomping at the bit to get to my seeds, because I've been chomping at the bit to finish my cherry tree. And so I'm pushing other stuff aside. Plus, of course, you know, Tommy and I had COVID. That really kind of slowed things down a bit. But I have been able to work on the cherry tree, not as much as I would like to, because, you know, I get tired. This post-COVID fatigue stuff is really annoying. But I do rally and get some energy, and then I paint. I work on my tree. So could we go to my tree pictures, please? This is my helper. That's Wolfbane the cat. Actually, his whole name is Wolfbane Surcat. And he kind of dominates the stairs and the upstairs area. He can get through the gate at the bottom of the stairs. We have a gate. It's not there now because I'm working on the tree, but he can get through the gate even when the gate's closed. And so when he's had enough with the dogs playing with him, chasing him, climbing on him, he sneaks through the gate and takes off upstairs. And he has pretty much taken over the chase lounge that's upstairs. But sometimes he hangs out with me, just me. He's a good napper. He likes to take naps, but he's been helping me with the tree. And these two pictures show that the tree is done. The trunk of the tree is done. I got the branches all the way up to the top. I did all the little side branches. I got around the corner. So, and I did most of the finishing from leaning over that rail with my arm outstretched, which was a real challenge, because when your arm is all the way outstretched and you're using a long-handled artist's brush and you're holding that at the very end so you can reach, it doesn't take much for your arm to shake, just a fraction, because it's sort of magnified as your arm is extended. And trying to get the branches done and looking tidy, I was really like holding my breath. But I'm very pleased with how it came out. So the tree itself is done. And this is, well, I actually have done a little bit more work since this picture was taken, but that's how it looks. I'm happy with how the switch plate cover kind of got camouflaged in there. And I love that the leaves kind of help tie it together. What we're looking at is about 120 flowers. And I think that I'm going to need over 1,000 altogether. So I have a few more that I need to do. Now this is the last branch that I completely finished. And Kira, my lovely daughter was here with us last weekend, and she was admiring my work. And she said to me, Mom, you should put our names in it. You should put our names in the tree and make it a family tree. So can you see that in the picture on the left? I circled that part, and then I camouflaged Kira's name in with the buds. Now, to me, I think it like jumps out and screams that it's there, but everybody that looks at it says it's hard to find until you see it. And then once you see it, you can't unsee it. But so I did that this week. I think it's kind of cute. She was very pleased. So now, of course, I have to do everybody else. I have to do Tommy and TJ and me, and I don't know about the critters, but that was the project. Okay, let me give the phone number again. It's 888-399-7344. That's PEGI is 7344. So you can remember it either way. I would love to hear from you. Did we have any comments? No comments? Did Rob F? Good morning, Rob F. Just want to thank you for being a loyal viewer. All right, so what should we talk about next? Let's do, now we have a caller. Oh, okay, good. Oh, it's Chris from Scotch Plains. He's always fun to chat with. He's always got something new and different. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Chris from Scotch Plains, Peppadew Peppers.
Hey, Chris.
How are you doing there, Peggy?
I can't hear
Are we
him.
live now?
Hi, we're on the air, but I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, okay.
There
Hi,
you are.
Peggy.
Okay, that's better. Tommy pushed some buttons, and now I can hear you.
I wasn't expecting to get you live so soon, but it's good to hear from you.
Thank you. Yes, well, I just finished up with Bob from Piscataway, so here we are. So what can I do for you today?
Sorry about that, Peggy.
What? Why? Sorry about
Okay. Peggy, you look very good today. You really recuperated very nicely. That's
Thank you.
wonderful to see.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was calling about a couple of different things. I was intrigued by Bob from Piscataway's Peppadew suggestion, so I pursued it as well. I went online and I tried to order it from Sherwood Seeds. They were sold out, but then I saw that it was available from Amazon, so I bought it from Amazon, and I got a packet of Sherwood Seeds. But at any rate, I have the Peppadews.
All right. Well, we have
Quite
two growers now that we hold dear that are going to be growing these. So we should be able to get a good report on how they do and how they taste and if they're the right ones, because that's all kind of challenging to figure out the variety of what's in the jar compared to the variety that's for sale as a seed. And so we're hoping that we get it all right.
Absolutely. We'll hope for the best. I was listening to the discussion with Bob about the time frame for starting seeds. I was doing something similar to Bob and starting tomato plants later rather than earlier. So last year I started them some on April the 1st, and then some I started on April the 9th. The 9th was pushing it, but I think Bob's idea about the 1st or maybe a couple of days later with my growing conditions anyhow, that seemed to work pretty well. I would mention, though, in terms of peppers and eggplants, that didn't allow enough time. So I think starting the peppers and eggplants, which tend to be a little bit slower sometime in March, might be a good strategy, though.
Well, the other thing is, especially with those BHN tomatoes that everybody's been talking about, those are determinate ones, and it might be fun to start just a couple of those in late March and then follow with a couple of those in the middle of April like you did last year, because that will extend your season and everybody likes them, because you can plant them a little bit later. You don't have to plant them.
Right.
And if they're going to stop growing in the middle of the summer anyway, and it's one of your favorite tomatoes, which a lot of people seem to really like that particular tomato, then you could do a little bit of both and extend your season.
No, that sounds good. I'll try to get them get them going. And Peggy, I just had a seed starting question. I'm trying to grow Cleome seeds inside. When I've grown them outside, it seems like they reseed prolifically. They come up with weeds, like weeds, a lot of germination. But last year I bought some specific hybrids. I think they were sparklers or whatever. And the seeds were costly. They were about 50 cents a seed. And I got pretty poor germination. I'm not giving up. I'm going to try again this year. But do you have any suggestions? Do they need to be cold stratified or any thoughts on that?
What are we talking about? Cleome, the flowers?
Yes.
I love them. And they do self-sow in the garden with great enthusiasm. And I really like them myself for that reason, because they grow in between my blueberry bushes. But they don't, but when they come up from seed and they don't get started until outside, and then they're much later than if you try to start them indoors and transplant them. So it works out perfect because they don't start blooming until I'm done harvesting blueberries. So that really works. But I'm going to say that because the germination outside is so outstanding, and I've experienced it in other places as well, not just in the blueberry bed. I've experienced it at Blooming Acres, and I even experienced it at the Ocean Grove house in this one little bed where they came up for quite a few years in a row. That my guess is a little cold stratification is probably, what happens naturally over the winter, which is why you get such great germination outside.
Okay, I can do that. I guess I could put them in a plastic bag in the refrigerator or something, and that shouldn't be too hard to do then.
I would certainly give that a try, especially if they're expensive seed, because that's how nature does it, and in this case, does it so well that you would want to try to copy that. Especially since you weren't so successful last year, which is really frustrating. I hate it when expensive seed fails. It's infuriating.
Yeah, it's sort of like I was on the verge of giving up entirely, or giving it another try in 2024. So I'll see if I'm more successful this year than last. But that was a big disappointment in 2023.
All right, Chris. Is there anything else I can do for you? It's always a pleasure chatting. Anything else I can do for you today?
One last question. I went to the farm at Green Village a couple of weeks ago, and they were selling hardy camellias. I was wondering if you could give any advice. Are those shade tolerant? Are they wind tolerant? Do they need to be in the sun or the shade? Any thoughts in terms
Camellias?
of cycling? Yeah, the hardy camellias.
First of all, try to get camellias that say they bloom in the fall. That's a important step, because a lot of times they do bloom in the fall, and then you get to enjoy the flowers. The ones that say, sometimes even the ones that bloom in the fall will hold some of the buds and bloom in the spring. But the ones that say they bloom in the spring, their buds have to overwinter in order to open in the spring. And I've never had a spring bloomer bloom. All the buds get frozen. The plants are fine, but the flower buds get frozen and they don't set flower bud again until the following year. So I think you have a better chance of being successful with camellias that say they're fall blooming. And there's a whole bunch of them, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding them. One of the wonderful things about camellias is that they have beautiful rose-like flowers, and they are related to roses. So they have beautiful rose-like flowers, but they're evergreen, which means you've got leaves all year long, which is nice because, let's face it, a rose bush in the winter is not a thing of beauty. It's all you see is the thorns. So the camellias are evergreen, and they are shade tolerant, pretty shade tolerant. Mine are doing fantastic in front of the house here. And the house faces north, and they're right up against the porch. They're right up against the rail. And I've shown you pictures. They bloom all the time. So there's a big maple tree there as well. And They get very little exposure from the west because of the maple tree, and they face due north, and they're under an overhang just a little bit. So they get very little direct sun, and they are magnificent. So that's one of the great things about being able to grow camellias. They have leaves in the winter. They are shade tolerant. They give you a flower as beautiful as a rose, but it doesn't have to be in a super sunny location. So they're on sale. Go get some more, Chris. Go get some more camellias.
Oh, okay. Do you know anything about deer resistance, or do the deer tend to eat them, or are they something that should be protected from the deer, or are they pretty good?
You got me on that one.
Okay.
I have never. I would have to look it up and see if we can find anything about that, because I have never had a serious deer problem. So all the things that I plant, I've never had to deal, and I'm probably the only gardener in New Jersey that can say that, but at Blooming Acres, we had donkeys, and donkeys keep deer away. And I did not know that when I started getting donkeys, but I was like, I've never had deer. And there was deer across the street, and there were deer, sometimes you'd see them in the front yard, but I wouldn't see them in the back where all my plantings were, or my vegetable garden was. And then we went to where was that place in Myrtle Beach? We went to Myrtle Beach, and they had a tiger preserve. We went to the tiger preserve, and we got to play with tigers, baby tigers, and see the big tigers. And the entire tiger preserve was surrounded by many layers of fencing to keep people and critters out and keep the tigers in. And the outermost circle of fencing, which went completely around the place, had donkeys in it, because the donkeys kept the local critters, wild ones or people's pets, from trying to get in to where the tigers were, who, of course, they wouldn't have stood a chance if they actually got by the tigers. And they said that because the donkeys are so territorial, that it would keep the deer out and all the other critters out. So that was when I had the realization that the reason I don't have deer at Blooming Acres is because I have donkeys. And that worked. And now we moved here. We were there for 25 years. And now we moved here. And you can even see in this background picture behind me, the whole backyard is fenced in with a 6-foot fence. So, the deer aren't going to get in. And on one side, the bus company put in an 8-foot chain link fence, which is on top of a cinder block wall. So you're not getting in that way. So I've never had to deal with deer. So whatever I know about deer is from what other people say and from doing research. But I will look into it. I will definitely look into it and see if we can come up with anything, because that place that we talked about, the farm, I'm going there Friday.
Very good. Very good.
It's Uncle Matt, my brother. It was his birthday. And so I'm going to take him out to lunch, and we're going to go there on Friday. So I'm excited. So I'll check it out and see if there's any good varieties that I would recommend, and I can let you know.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Peggy.
All right, Chris, is there anything else I can do for you?
No, that's enough, but thank you very much.
All right, you have a wonderful day. It's always a pleasure.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
I know.
All right, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? How much time do we have? We have 5 minutes. Okay. Let's do this week at Tiny Farm. Oh, I have a comment. Oh, Laura says hi. Hi, Laura.
So which one?
Let's do this week at Tiny Farm. Okay. Actually took this picture outside my doctor's office. A totally, really neglected bed. Was not well tended. Looked a little overgrown. And there were these happy little daffodils, and they were the first ones that I saw. So I snapped their picture. But then as soon as I got home, I saw all these in the backyard. They're coming up with gay abandon, and that makes my heart sing. It does. Daffodils are a really joyful creature. This is Susan the Magnolia. Susan, I planted Susan when my friend, for my friend Susan, I needed small magnolia, and there's the whole girl series. There's a whole bunch of them. There's Judith. Betty was the one I had at Blooming Acres. Susan, there's, I think, 6. Anne, I think, is another one. And right after I planted Susan, my friend Susan passed away. And so it became, even more sentimental to me. And then, unfortunately, I had to move it because of the big ugly building. I had planted it in front of the fence, but then the big ugly building went up and towers over the fence. The bottom of the building is at the same height as the top of the fence. So this dwarf magnolia wasn't going to ever do anything to camouflage the building, so we had to move it. And the first year it struggled. But last year it came close to doubling in size. And this is what it looks like right now. All those buds are swollen and fuzzy. They almost look like pussy willows. They look so fuzzy. But it is definitely coming to life. And witch hazel. There are many different varieties of witch hazel. I planted 5 of them. I could only find 2 in the woods. And one was not blooming, but this one was. And the witch hazel is clearly one of the earliest things to bloom. And one of the nice things about them is they're extremely shade tolerant, which is why they're planted in the woods. This is Cornus officinalis, which Cornus is dogwood. So it's related to our flowering dogwood. It's related to Kusa dogwood. It's related to Cornus moss, cornelian cherry, but it blooms a little bit earlier than Cornus moss, which is pretty common around here. But this Cornus officinalis is not anywhere near as common. And it's about to pop. It is really, it's covered in these buds that have all these little tiny petals that are going to explode into Sputnik-y like flowers. So, and it's a beautiful shade of yellow. I love that rich golden yellow color. So, all right, this is kind of interesting. This is the Dappled Willow that I got that from Mel. And it grows on a what's called a standard. So it has a straight trunk on the bottom, and then it was grafted on top of that. The Dappled Willow is like multicolored. And I was looking at it, and I thought it had kind of a red cast to it, sort of like the red twig dogwood, only not as extreme. So I tried to take some close-up pictures. And you can see in the picture on the right that some of the new growth is bright red. And I had never really noticed that before. So that's kind of fun. I have to keep this pruned. This bush can get really quite huge, but really want to make sure that the trunk has a chance to thicken up a little bit so that it can support that huge top. I've heard of things snapping because you let the top get too big because it grows so quickly. So I'm going to let it leaf out first, and then I'll give it a good pruning after that. It doesn't really flower, so I'm not worried about, preserving its period of bloom time. But I want to see what those red branches are going to do. And last but not least, the hydrangeas have started to open up. That is the first buds on the hydrangeas that I've seen. I do have some hydrangeas that are going to need to be transplanted. In Ocean Grove, there is one absolutely fabulous, but absolutely enormous hydrangea that's just growing out onto the sidewalk and over the steps. And I have actually divided it in the past, but it needs to be divided again. And it came with the house, has beautiful bloom. So I'm hoping to be able to dig some of that up and maybe transplant it to the Garden of Ancient Ruins, where hydrangeas can do pretty well in there. So that's my plan. This is that beefsteak begonia that Dani gave me, and I've shown you pictures of that before. But let's look at the next shot, because look at all the flowers that are on that now. Oh, it's just completely covered in flowers. It's really very outrageous. I didn't expect to ever see that many flowers on that plant, but it's looking pretty good. And last but not least is this is one of the many snake plants, and it was hiding that flower. And one of the interesting things about snake plant flowers is that at night they send out a wonderful scent, which if I had been in the greenhouse at night, I would have noticed it before, because some of the flower buds on the bottom are already finished, but it still has some that haven't opened yet. But it has the most wonderful scent, so surprising, because you don't really think of snake plants as flowering plants, but you allow them to get pot bound long enough. They need to be pot bound, and under reasonable growing conditions, they will flower. And once they start flowering, if you don't mess with them too much or try repotting them or dividing them or anything, they will usually bloom for you every year. So this one is blooming now. And I think that wraps things up, and we are at 11:01. So happy birthday delayed to my husband. Looking forward to seeing the kids, and a lot going on. So please hit like, share, follow, subscribe, and so we can get more people tuned in to Garden with Peggy. And I will be here next week, same time, same place. Until then, you guys have a really great week. Bye-bye now.